Hello, today we're going to be doing Virgil, Aeneid, Book 6 for the GCSE OCR for years 2023 to 2024. We're going to start with the first section, which is lines 295 to 316. Hinc via tartere quae fert acheron ad undas. So we have hinc via, from here there is a way. And you notice that the word S is not here. It's because this is a book, well, this is epic poetry, and essentially what you can do is you can skip out verbs if you deem them unnecessary, but we can assume there's an S there, so we translate it as from here. From here there is a way which leads to the waves of Tartarian Acheron. Okay, and then here, thick with mud, and with a vast abyss, the whirlpool seethes and belches forth. This is the eructat, and the eructat is a violent verb. Eructat haranam, belches forth its silt, all its silt as well. Omnem, that's a quantifier that intensifies it. It's very emphatic. So we have this section of turbidus to eructat haranam is here, thick with mud, and a vast abyss. From that wastaque, vast abyss. The whirlpool seethes, and belches forth all its silt into cocytus. You can also this is cocytus, by the way. This is the place, and you'll see when there's capital letters in Latin, because they don't usually exist, therefore places or people's names. So we've already seen this in Acheron and Tartarus, which is basically just hell, or the underworld. And Cocytus is a river in the underworld. Haranam can be also translated as sound, but I prefer the word silt because it's more disgusting. If we have the spondees of A and E creating heaviness, that's from Kaino, Wastaque, Estua as well. That creates heaviness. Remember, it's spondees that does it. And then the dactyls that follow, atque, speeds it up. So there's that contrast there of wastaque, V. In Latin, it's W. Well, you pronounce it W. Waragne, gurges. That thick, mud-strong consonants emphasizes the strength and the power of the whirlpool. And you've got the G as well. The guttural alliteration, it represents the gurgling of the whirlpool. The enjambment here, from gurgus to estuat, brings attention to the verb, so it's emphatic. You've got the emphatic positioning there because it has a promoted position, meaning it's first in the line, because you can see it's first in the line. Omnum again is a quantifier, all, and what's also the same as this quantifier, emphatic of its size, wastaque indicates it's the vastness and the size. You can see the landscape is totally in turmoil. And then we'll move on to these few lines ending at amictus from Portitor. Portitor has horrendous aquas et flumina, so what terribly squalor caron. See, that's a person's name. Qui plurima mento carnities inculta aecit, stant lumina flamma, sordidus ex humerus nodo dependent amictus. The horrible ferryman. You've already got that adjective drawing attention to his horribleness. The horrible ferryman guards. You can see guards there. Guards these waters and rivers. This is really important. This is superfluous. Or we could also say this is tautological because they essentially mean the same thing. This is emphatic. It draws attention to that. It shows the vastness of his power. It shows how much power he has. The horrible ferryman guarding these waters and rivers. We've got there in blue. Very fitting. Charon of terrible squalor. Again, you've got terrible from here. You've got that emphatic promoted positioning because it's first in the line. Terrible squalore, you can see. It's also what squalor comes from in English. On whose chin, whose, This is lots, on whose chin a mass of shaggy grey hair lies. His fixed gaze lit with fire. You can see that in Latin, this is literally standing fire. You can see this is a really strong, emotive metaphor. His fixed gaze is lit with fire, and a sordidus. You can see that promoted, emphatic positioning again. It's first in the line. Shows how disgusting it really is. A sordid garment hangs down by a knot from his shoulders. X. So you can say Aquas Flaminas is pleonastic, emphasizes how much power he has of so many waters. The enclosing word order of sordidus, you can see here, sordidus, and amictus is essential. What's also called hyperbaton. It represents the dirty cloak enclosing him. So again, the promoted adjective emphasizes the horror. And terrible squalor again. This emphasizes his dirtiness, the disgusting state he's in, and how unkempt he is. And yeah, lumina flamma is a metaphor. I'll just highlight it there. So you can see that this is really a vivid imagery here. And then we'll move on to the next bit. Ipse ratum conto, subigit velisque, ministrat et ferugina, subvectat corpora cumba. Corpora cumba. It's going to be very important later. I am senior, se cruda deo virisque se nexus. Right, you can already see the language happening there. He himself, this is in intensive verb, himself. He himself pushes along the boat with a pole and tends to the sails and carries the dead in a rust-coloured boat. Corpora cumba. Now an old man, you can see that, now an old man. This is almost in direct English translation. Imagine I am senior. Now an old man, but a god's old age is fresh and vigorous. Fresh and vigorous. This is the and there. The enclosing word order of ferugina here and cumber shows how the boat carries the bodies. And ferugina as well is rust-coloured. I translated it as rust-coloured. But it can also be red. And it shows the decay, the passing of time. And rust-coloured, you could also say, is reminiscent of blood. You've got the corpora cumba. You've got that rusty alliteration. And it's a really uncomfortable juxtaposition because bodies shouldn't be in boats. It's really uncomfortable for the reader. And you've also got this contrast of ferugina and viridisque. So some things are always eternal. Charon is always there. And I thought the ipse, there's an intensive verb, so it intensifies. It shows his power and his loneliness because it's only himself. He himself. So this emphasizes how Charon is eternal. And it also shows his loneliness. And then we can move on to the next one, which is 305. Huc ominous turba ad ripas effusa rubat. To this place, the whole crowd was rushing, streaming out towards the bank. So what I've done in my translation there is I've sort of added this river imagery that's persistent in the Latin. So omnis and turba, crowd and whole crowd. You've got the all being there, the quantifier. This really shows the amount there. So we're just going to put Q for quantifier. And effusa is like this pouring, this rushing. It shows how many there are. It's like they rush like water. I would say that's almost like a metaphor. Because people don't rush out and stream towards banks. And banks being, of course, river banks. That's from ripas there. Matres artque viri defunctaque corpora vitae magnanimum heroem. This is a very long metaphor, extended metaphor that Virgil really likes to incorporate in his propaganda here in his epic poetry. We're just going to stop it there and translate it like line by line, chunk by chunk. Right. Matchquest auro viro. Mothers and men. And bodies of noble heroes finished with life. You've got the defunctaque, finished with life. And noble heroes from magnanimum heroum. That's the adjective there. And you can also translate it as magnanimous, which is where we get our English word from. You can see the polysyndeton there. And then you've got this emphasis. The next one being pueri inuptaeque puellae. Impositque rogus iuminus ante ora parentum. This is a really emotive scene here. Because we can see that boys and unmarried girls. And young men placed on funeral pyres before the faces of their parents. It shows the breadth of society. You've got the pueri, you've got the puellae, you've got the unmarried girls. Everyone faces death. It encompasses everyone. Tragic, and it's unfortunate. It also evokes war, because there's that old saying that in peace a son buries his father, and in wartime a father buries his son. I don't remember where that's from, but really it evokes war. And then I thought this line here, before the eyes of their parents, is really quite emotive there. So it's got this really emotional scene. We could put an E there for emotional. And we've got another part of an extended metaphor, quam. And you can see the quam here. This sort of quam multi, as many as. So we can already see that's the start of a metaphor. The start of the simile. As many as. I'm going to start at foilia. That also reminds you of the word foliage in English. Quam multi in silvis autumni frigori primo lapsa cadent folia. As many as the leaves which slip and fall in the woods of the first frost of autumn. First frost. So you've got this wonderful nature imagery that Virgil likes to go back to, because before he did this, in fact, he did agricultural and pastoral poetry, which is a very noble form of poetry. And you can see him harkening back to his days there. And, okay, and we start as aut ad terram gurgite ab alto quam multi glomerantur arvis. There. Or, as many as, again, we've got extended metaphor, as the birds which flock together from the deep ocean. And then when, you've got when the cold season puts them to flight, almost forces them to flight. Fugat, here we go. Fugat puts them to flight across the sea and sends them to sunny lands. Here we have the birds being the object. It shows how they're incapable, how they're powerless. And there, by the way. And then stabant. What's really important about this bit is that it's bant and it's imperfect. They stood there. Begging to be the first to grow across the stream. To go across. It's the infinitive there, so we can see that from the ere. To be the first to go across the stream. They stretched out their hands in desire, amore, for the further shore, and hand being manus, shore being ripae, etc. So we have this whole section from stabant to amore being they stood there, begging to be the first to go across the stream. They stretched out their hands in desire for the further shore. So we have this really emotive scene there, and how they're incapable and they're powerless. We've got this begging in desire. And then we have this bit, which is the last ending bit. Really. Narvita said Tristis sad, nunc os nunc occipit ilos. But now the sad sailor, that's Charon by the way, accepts now those men. And then we've got this. Alios, you can see that kind of being similar to English alias, others. And yet he keeps others far removed from the sand. So you see that sort of tragedy, that emotive language. That's lines 295, I believe, to 316 covered. And join us next time because we will go to 384 because it does a little time jump, and I won't recap what's in the middle of the time jump because you should just read it. You shouldn't rely on this. Anyway, see you next time. Okay, so we're doing part 2, which is 384 to 416. You might only do the slide depending on what I feel like, really. 384. Ergo, it's a inceptum paragant fluvioque propinquant. Just this first line here. Therefore, ergo, they continue the journey which they'd started and approach the river. Propinquant, approach the river. This is quite easy one. Now, we're going to start Nawita and then Ripai. You can see from the before we remember what Ripai is. Riverbanks. So I'm just going to translate it as banks. Or in this case, it's bank, actually. Now, when the boatmen, even from there, the Stygian waters, see that's a capitalized, Stygian waters, Stygian is river. The Stygian waters, it's river Styx. The Stygian waters caught sight of them going through the silent grove and turning their feet to the bank. This section here. Sic prio ad gretor dictus atque increpat ultro. Thus he accosts them with words, and he rebukes without provocation. You've got this speech bit here. I'll translate this line here. Quisquis es amatus quis nostra ad flumina tendus. Whoever you are, quisquis es, making your way armed towards our rivers. Fare, and then to Gressum. Fare age, quid venias? I am istinct et comprime Gressum. Come, say why you are coming now, from where you are, and check your step. It means halt, it means stop. Umbrarum, we can also see that it comes from like umbrella, and you could say perhaps there's something to do with the shadows. But in this case, it really works if you think it's shadows. You've got the promoted position there. Really emphasizes the dangers because you've got the shadows. It's emphatic. It's in that promoted position. This is the place of shadows. This is a place of shadows, of sleep and drowsy night. Superfluous. You would already think that sleep is drowsy and the drowsy night. You've got this like same feeling there. It's emphatic. Corpora viva nefastigia victare carina. It is a sin, or it is forbidden, to carry living bodies in the Stygian boat. Translate to here. Nec vero alcilden me some laetatus euntum acipisi lacu. Here we have this, meaning it's a person again. We can see it's the son of Alcaeus, and the son of Alcaeus is in fact Hercules. But this is the way we refer to him, so get used to it. Truly, I was not glad that I received the son of Alcaeus onto the lake. We'll translate from nec to essent. Nec thesia perithumque disquamquam geniti atque invicta viribus essent. Nor Theseus and Perithus, disquamquam genite atque invicta viribus essent. Although they were descended from the gods and invincible in their strength. Okay, the next one. Tartarum ille manu custodum invincula petiwit ipsius a solio regis traxicque trementum. Hercules sought to put the guard of Tartarus into chains. This is Cerberus, by the way. This is the three-headed dog. This is the one that every kid learns about. Sought to put the guard of Cerberus into chains by force, and dragged him, trembling, from the throne of the king himself. Got Vinc and Petiwit. the harsh consonants to emphasize the harshness of the dragging. It's a really violent action. You shouldn't be dragging a dog around, even if it is Kerberos. You've got Ipsius. It's emphatically placed. Shows the bravery of Hercules himself. Emphatic. It's got this promoted. I've got a bit of PP. Promoted position. It's really emphatic. And then he dominam ditus thalamo deducere adorti. Ditus here, or dis, is actually just Hades. So we'll translate those as Hades. The others attempted. You can see their failure there because they suck. The others attempted to carry off the wife of Hades from her bedchamber. You translate quae toates, quae contrabuerita, fata est amphrysia vatis. In reply to this, the prophetess of Apollo, so Amphrysia, the Sibyl, briefly said, here she sends some dialogue over it. Nullae hic insidiae talis ipsiste mure. Got this in brackets here. There is no such treachery here. No such insidiae. From English we get insidious. That's the treachery. There is no such treachery here. The anaphora of the emphatically placed negative. Nullae. Nullae, and you've got neck in the next line as well. It's reassurance that nothing is wrong. And then you've got the nullae again and the insidia. Emphasis there is no danger there. We've got the next few lines. Nec to umbras. Nec vim terra ferent. Licet ingens janitor antro aeternum trans exsanguis terreat umbras. This is really strong, vivid imagery here. Nor do weapons bring violence. The huge gatekeeper in his cave, barking eternally, Aeternum, has permission to terrify the bloodless exsanguish shades, umbras. To terrify the bloodless shades. You've got the repetition of licet, the emphasis of what is right or allowed. And you've got the sound play of a latrans terriat, imitates the growling of Kerberos. You got the next bit. Casta licet patrui servit Proserpina lemon. Licet again. What is allowed? So Proserpina is just Persephone, by the way. And Proserpina, undefiled, may keep the threshold of her ankle. And here we're back to our favourite guy, the man himself, the man of the hour, the man of the book, the man of the man, the pious dude, the Trojan Aeneas. That's adjective, Trojan Aeneas, really emphasises that. The Trojan Aeneas, distinguished for his devotion and duty and skill in battle. Got here, it goes there. And the pietate, the piousness, duty. Here, it's a promoted position, emphatic. That's such an important quality of him. Aeneas, above anything, is pious. Pious Aeneas. Pious Aeneas. That's all you need to remember. Pious Aeneas. You've got the last bit. Is descending to the lowest shades of Erebus to see his father. At genitorum imas erebi descendit ad umbras. We can see piety is brought forward to emphasize the importance of pietas. Insignis and armis, again, in closing word order to emphasize the importance of Aeneas' military ability. You've got imas, embras. That's another example of my favourite thing on the planet in closing word order to represent how the darkness enfolds everything in the underworld. It's all encompassing. That's how powerful and oversurging the darkness is. And then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, there you go. Here. Se te nulla muet taeta pietatis. Pietatis, again, piety, pious. If no image of such great piety moves you at ramum hunc, you've got the little thing, Latin back there, recognise this bow. There should be an exclamation mark there, but that's how I've translated it. That's how emotive this image is meant to be. She reveals the bow which was lying hidden in her garments. It's a very long-winded English way to say that. Then his heart subsides from swelling wrath. Anoskas, tumida ex ira tum coda resundant. You've got tumda, like a beating heart. You've got the sound imagery there. It's very vivid imagery. Got the nec plura his, ille admirans venerabile donum fatalis virgi. No more words follow these. It's just a short sentence. Charon wondering, so he, obviously, Charon wondering at the venerable gift of the fateful branch. The long syllables in the line emphasize the importance of this bough. The branch and the bough are the same thing. It's like a tree piece. Venerable, fatalis, virgi. Long syllables. It's emphatic. And then you've got longo to propinquat. Longo post tempore, after a long time. Visum, seen after a long time. Cerulean, this is where we get cerulean from, so blue. Seen after a long time, turns his dark blue boat and approaches the bank. Ripae, we love our favourite bank. Longo post tempore, visum ceruleam advertit pupim ripaeque propinquat. Seen after a long time, turns his dark blue boat and approaches the bank. The line is heavily spondaic. There's a lot of spondees to highlight how hard it is to turn the boat. You've got the repetition of propinquat, emphasizes how hard it was for Aeneas to cross the river. Inde to Phoros. Inde alias inimus. Then he drove out the other spirits, which were sitting throughout the long benches. Sede band were sitting. It's imperfect, so in that sense it's very present. They're still there, and he drives them out. Then he drove out the other spirit, which were sitting throughout the long benches, and opening the gangways. We've got the enjambment here of deturbat. It shows how the people are taken off the boat, flowing off the boat. Emphatic positioning, got that promoted position because it's first in line, and it's the first thing you see, and when you read it, it's top of the line as well. Simul accipit awil ingentem Aenean. I love our man Aeneas. At the same time, he took huge Aeneas in the small boat. We've got gemuit to paludum. Gemuit sub pondere cumba sutilis et multam accipit remosa paludum. Gemuit is out of the first line. Guess what this is? Emphatically place. Promoted positioning. PP. It's the first in the line where we read here. Emphatically place, which emphasizes the groaning of the boat. The boat, sewn together, groaned under the weight, and full of cracks, took in a lot of marshy water. You've got the multam here, and the paludum. This is another one of my favourite examples of enclosing word order. The boat is surrounded by water. And then you've got the next and final two lines. Tandem transfluvian incomles vatemque virimque informi lico glaucaque exponent in ulva. Sorry, I just have to charge my laptop. Oh, okay, it's charging. Anyway. Finally, across the river, so finally, tandem. Across the river, transfluvium, Charon, unharmed, landed both the priestess, that's the prophetess of Apollo, by the way, and Frisia, the priestess and the hero in the shapeless line, and the grey sludge. Tandem is at the front of the line, and guess what this is again? PP. Promoted positioning. It's emphatic. It's first of the line. It's the first thing you see there. It's emphatically placed to outline the feeling, we made it. And the fluvin icomlis watemque wirimque. This is a really long, lengthy line. Now, highlight it there. It's to represent the long journey that they took. And they informe, spondaic, glaucaque. Again, it's spondaic, it's the thickness of sludge. Olwa. Obviously you pronounce V as a U. So it's onomatopoeia of sludge. Disgusting grey sludge.